Hi everyone, Eloise here today for lawnfawn and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a super quick and easy card to share with you all. I'm going to be using the Smooth Sailing stamp set as well as the Ocean Wave Borders dies, and then I'm also going to be pairing it with some action wobblers because I thought the sentiment that I was going to use worked really well with using an action wobbler, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm starting off this card with the background. So I've just got some watercolor cardstock here and I'm just going to ink blend on some distress ink. So I'm using Blueprint Sketch and also Mermaid Lagoon for the water. And while I'm ink blending, I really want to make sure that I'm blending up to white. I don't want it to be like a solid color. I want it to be like quite like light and flowy. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see here that I'm trying to fade it off to white as much as I can. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the sky. So I decided to do like a bright yellow sky. I know not really necessarily realistic, but whatever, it's fine. I just thought it balanced nicely with the blue water. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm using mustard seed and also scattered straw, and just did the same thing with the fading out into white. And then I also made a little brown hill as well that I'm going to cut from a circle die, and that's just going to be where the lighthouse is going to sit. So once they were all ink blended, I just flicked on some water and picked it up with a paper towel. Then I'm going to go ahead and die cut out the circle, and also I'm going to cut that blue piece out with the Ocean Wave Borders dies as well. So I'm just going to go and run those through a die cutting machine, and you can see here that that's how they're all going to look when they're cut out and assembled. So I'm just going to set that off to the side and work on my images, and I'm also just going to figure out how to attach my action wobbler. So I thought I was just going to attach it on the top of the panel, but I thought what would be nice to do this time is to cut another circle out from the panel. So I'm actually going to use the same circle Stackables dies and cut out one of the smallest circles that come in the set, and I'm just going to cut it out right around here, and that way I can just thread through the action wobbler, and that like big plastic piece on the bottom is going to be hidden underneath the panel, and also it's not going to add as much bulk to the card. So I thought that was really cool and convenient, so that's what I'm deciding to do later. But I just set that panel off to the side for now while I work on the images, because I wanted to make sure that I was die cutting that circle out of the correct place. So once I stamped down my images, I am going to go ahead and color them in. So I'm coloring in a couple of the sails and the flag on the top of the boat with some aqua colors. Now I'm moving on to the other sail and the other flag on the top, and also the light areas of the lighthouse with some yellow markers, and then coloring the stripes on the lighthouse with some reds. I really love coloring lighthouses this way. I don't think I've ever colored one with any other colors, which is kind of boring, but I just really like the pop of red on this card. Now I'm coloring in the bottoms of the boats and also like the sticks and the parts on the lighthouse as well with some brown markers. I'm using E47, E44, E43 and E42. E40s are some of my favorite brown markers at the moment. I think I use them on almost every card. So I'm just going to finish up coloring those in, and then I'm using some grey markers for the other two sails and like the top of the boat, and also the white areas on the lighthouse as well, just to make them appear a bit more white. I like at doing that because it just adds a nice shadow to them all. So I'm just using W1, W0, W00, and then blending that all out with the 0 marker just to blend that all out into the white so it looks a little bit more seamless. And then last but not least, I'm just adding a little bit of blue onto the clouds. So I'm just using B000 and B000 and also the 0 marker again just to fade those out into white. Now that they're all colored in, I'm just going to go ahead and cut those out. Once they're cut out, I'm going to assemble them together. So I'm just working out how this action wobbler is going to fit on the back of both of the boats. And then you can see here it's really easy to thread that through because you've got the piece that can fold in half and things, so it can just fit through the circle really nicely. So I went ahead and die cut that out, and then I'm going to assemble this together. So I colored an extra little heart to adhere on top of one of the boats. I then adhered both of those pieces together with the glue tube adhesive, and then I'm just cutting down the top part of this action wobbler to fit behind my two boats. So I just used some scissors to cut through that, and I just cut through the thin part, not the thick plastic part, and that worked out fine. I then adhered my boats on top of the action wobbler once I had threaded it through that hole, and you can see here that when it shakes, you're not really going to see the big plastic area anymore of the action wobbler, which I thought was really nice since this action wobbler was a little bit too big for the images that I was using. So I really liked doing it this way because it just eliminated seeing that plastic, and also it didn't add as much bulk, which is really nice. You can see here that it goes underneath that part, and when you shake it, it still shakes just as fine. It's just less bulky than it normally would be, which is super cool. So now I'm going to go ahead and add on the other images. I just added foam tape onto the back of the lighthouse and onto the back of the clouds. I also then used some black ink to stamp the little like light shining marks and also a few waves onto the background as well. And then I'm using the I'm here for you when the waters get rough sentiment, and just white heat embossed that on two separate strips of black cardstock, and I adhered one of them at the top with the like lighthouse scene, and then one at the bottom with the rocky boat scene. I just think this design turned out really cool with a separated sentiment. That wasn't my intention, but now looking back on the card, I really like how that turned out. So that finishes up the card for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. All of the supplies that I used will be listed down below and over at the blog, and I will see you all next time. Thanks so much for watching today.